Hi there. So today we're gonna do a bit of a do-over. Last time we tried to do the whole Cloudflare setup, and we had a teeny tiny error where the app failed on us, and we included a little workaround. But what we're trying for today is to actually do a setup straight with a clean Webflow project, go through all the settings after that. What can you do with page rules? What other things are good to apply in Cloudflare? Should you be using add-ons like Argo and that type of thing? But yeah, we'll literally take the dashboard from top to bottom and just scroll through. Okay, so we're going to kick off with just the basic Webflow settings. So these are our standard Webflow settings from Webflow. And as per, their Cloudflare instructions, you would have the little orange cloud off, and Cloudflare would essentially be doing nothing other than DNS management. So what we're going to do now is just do a little hack to bypass that, so we can turn on the proxy status here to proxy through Cloudflare. So we're going to go over to Webflow. Here's the Webflow Studio sites publishing settings. And we want to turn off SSL. Just going to hit save over there. And we're going to grab these guys. I filtered it out for Webflow here, so you don't have to see all our stuff. And we're just going to replace them with the non-SSL settings and turn on proxy. And we're going to do it for all of these. And basically, this will ensure that our Let's Encrypt certificate on on Webflow does not expire. And we're going to just grab that guy. And the TXT setting you can leave. Not important for this. It's just these ones, actually most importantly, the CNAME. So now you'll see everything is proxied and it should work just fine. But what we're going to do, we're going to go back over here, turn SSL back on, hit save. And now you'll see it's going to throw an error that it doesn't have these guys. Don't worry about that. You can publish, it's all good. We've been running, I think, this setup for like 2 years now on our site. We've never had an issue. Okay, so back over here, we've got the settings sorted out, and it's now proxying, but it's only basically proxying your HTML files through here. Webflow keeps everything on a CDN on AWS, and in my case, it is assets.websitefiles.com, and you can just open up an image in a new tab and you'll see the URL that they're using, and it's basically so they don't have to spin up a CDN for every single person. But it also means that Cloudflare can only proxy things that sit on your domain, and in this case it would sit on websitefiles.com, so it can't optimize any of that content. So what we're going to go do is we're going to add an app, and it's called Cassette. Let's find it over here, and we're going to install that, and the free version's perfectly fine. It's only if you want to proxy more content. So this guy, if you look at it, was designed to proxy your cloud storage on Google or S3 on Amazon, that kind of thing, through Cloudflare, and thereby bring down your fees by not hitting your server so much. And we're going to use it basically to proxy website files, in this case, whatever it might be in yours, to a subdomain on our domain here on Webflow Studio, and then we can optimize it. So it's basically going to find links to files that are on website files, cache that content on our domain, and replace the links on the Webflow build. Not the actual Webflow build, just the content it's serving. Cool. So we're going to hit preview on our site. Sometimes this guy can be a bit slow. There we go. And we want to catch everything on assets.websitefiles.com. So that's what we're looking for. And we want to store it on, in my case, content.milkmoonstudio.com. And it's going to ask for permissions because it needs to go create a CNAME record. For that, we're going to say install. I did it the wrong way around. Sorry. Let's just take that out. And this one, oh, I'm doing it again. That is over there, and content.milkmoonstudio.com. And we're going to install on all pages. Asking for permission to do that. We're going to say continue. And now if we go to DNS, we'll see contents being created. And this guy will take a little while to catch everything. But if you install the Dr. Flare plugin, links are in the blog post, then you can see what it's caching and what it's missing. And if after a few days you see it's not caching an image, it's usually due to the fact that Webflow creates SRC sets. So there's a range of images for different screen sizes, and it sometimes misses one here and there. So you can either use the image resizer in Cloudflare. We talk about that in the blog post. Turn off the SRC set in Webflow. Leave it because it'll work on most things. Actually, it's really up to you. We're done, essentially. That's it. Now Webflow is running through Cloudflare. And the basics from now on, the important things are setting up your page rules, because Cloudflare does not by default cache HTML. So you have to set it to cache everything in page rules. We'll talk a little bit about that now. And then there's a whole host of other small settings. So we're just going to run through it really quickly now, what they do, and our recommended settings here. The whole list is in the blog post at the very end. You can go check it out there. So we've got image resizing on because we do some of that on the site. And you really don't need to do that. That's fine. So polish you want turned on. Polish will check the browser, see if the client supports WebP if it's on, and convert the image if it can, and if there is a saving in terms of size. It'll also convert PNGs to smaller PNGs, JPEGs to smaller JPEGs, if the browser does not support it, but there would still be a space saving. And you can go with lossy here instead of lossless. It's pretty good. If you do see a quality issue, then turn it to lossless. Auto minify, very similar to what's going on here. It'll just check everything else that's also running through your domain, so you can take all of that on. Brotli is just compression. So if the user's browser supports it, it's a very small, fast protocol. It'll use that. Otherwise, it'll switch to gzip. Early hints. That's just letting the browser know about preloaded linked assets. So you want that on. You don't use WordPress, so that's off. HTTP2 prioritization you want on. It just speeds up resource delivery. You can see it talks here about optimizing it in the optimal order. So your browser, when HTTP2 is enabled, will download in the order that your browser likes, and it might be slower or faster, whereas here Cloudflare does the prioritization and order and determines the best way. Then we've got TCP Turbo. I think that's turned on by default now. Older accounts might have it off, and that's just another optimization and throughput, low latency. Mirage, this one very much depends on your market. If they have slower mobiles and slower connections, Mirage can essentially progressively load images. So it'll load a low quality image, and then replace it with a higher quality image if it detects a slow connection or a slower browser or device. Rocket Loader, this is where you get, aside from what you're getting up here with Polish, you probably will get your biggest increase in speed with Rocket Loader. So this guy is going to optimize all your third-party scripts. He's also the one where the biggest issues might occur. So if a script needs to load like really quickly, and this guy is loading them async and deferring them and loads later, it can cause issues. I've not seen it on Webflow builds where it's basically just using Webflow's default things. Maybe if you've got a lot of other third-party scripts and things running on the site, you can exclude them. There's a little tag that you add to a script, and you can read more about that on the blog post. We've got it in there for you. This you want on Google will love you. It's just caching on their exchanges, and everything else you can have off here, except if you're on enterprise prefetch URLs, you can turn on. Let's head over here to the caching configuration. So caching level, you want, this is sort of like if you, both the speed and the caching settings there are things that the page rules will override, but if a page rule misses something, it'll fall back to these. So query string, ignore query string is a good one. Let's say it's milkmoonstudio.com and there's a query string / something that Google AdWords added, or a UTM tag at the end. It won't cache each individual query string that it picks up. It'll just ignore that and cache milkmoonstudio.com. So a safe bet to just go with ignore query string. Browser cache DTL, so how long will the content stay cached in the user's browser? By default, you want this pretty low. You can make it longer in the page settings for specific pages that don't change often. But yeah, this is sort of the catch-all one. So I would say a day if you're posting new content daily or weekly or so on. This is just the child sexual abuse scanning tool. And it basically checks content on people's sites for that kind of thing. I've never looked into it. Then crawler hints. This basically pings Google and Bing and says, Jake's just updated this specific page on the website, crawl it. So a good one to have on, always online. Very good to have on, keeps copies of your site on the Wayback Machine so that if Webflow and AWS goes down, and even Cloudflare goes down, it can serve the content from the Wayback Machine. Developer mode, this is only if the crap hits the fan and you want to connect directly to the origin. Tying into this, actually, if it gets really bad and you're experiencing issues and you can't fix it, just pause Cloudflare and turn on developer mode. So that was caching configuration. We're just going to jump here to tiered cache. Argo is a good one to turn on. It basically uses the Cloudflare backend. If any nodes and things go down on the web, it bypasses them. It's usage based, so do check that out. There's costs involved. And same goes for cache reserve. Basically, when something is missed in the cache, it'll go look over here before it looks on origin, and thereby increasing your cache lifetime a lot. I have this actually switched off at the moment. The reason being, on enterprise, you can clear this thing with one click. It's not like that on the lower plans. And if something that's an issue gets cached, it can be a bit of a pain to get it out of here. So I've got it turned off at the moment because there's something I need to fix on the site. Might turn it back on later again. Just remember, if you say purge all in your cache settings over here, it's not going to clean that whole thing. You might have to specifically purge something. Then quickly through the network settings. You want HTTP2 turned on. You want that on between Cloudflare and Origin. You want HTTP3 with quick on. It's just much faster protocol, much newer. If the browser supports, it's great to have. Connection resumption is good. It'll just resume a connection, literally like it says, without creating a new one. gRPC, I think that has, it's an API protocol. You may as well turn it on. WebSockets, same sort of thing. It'll just keep the connection open between the client and the origin. Onion routing, so it's for folks who browse the web through Tor, and Cloudflare actually has its own nodes on Tor. So if you turn this on people using the Tor or Onion browsers, or there's like 110 different ones these days, but it'll be fast for them. Geolocation, just, I don't know, have that on. And then was there anything else? I think this is where you actually turn on Argo. No, okay, cool. So the big important one, page rules. This is link shorteners and stuff, so pay no attention. So the first page rule we're going to create, I'll do it slowly, go through everything, and then we can just run through the others quickly. So the basic idea here is you can see the position, right? And much like a style sheet in Webflow, this cascades down, right? So whatever is above it overrides what's below. So if you have, and this is where the browser TTL and so on comes in, if you have a static page or a whole set of static pages and there's just one section in your site that changes often, you can heavily cache, let's say, the whole of Milk Moon Studio, and just the blog feed changes a lot. So you can cache that one a lot less heavily and put it above, and it overrides for that set of pages whatever is below it. So just remember the cascade down order is important here. So we're going to go and create a page rule, and this is for that new subdomain of ours, the content one. So we're just going to go content. Whoa, keyboard fell asleep. Content dot milkmoon studio.com, and so everything in milkmoonstudio.com essentially, and we're going to apply the actually, let's just switch this to first now before I forget. And you can't have HTTPS always on with any other page rules, so don't even touch that. If you want to create a rule, you'll have to create a new URL to target, or set of URL to target. So we're targeting everything in content at the moment. We're just going to turn on minify. We're going to turn on HTTPS rewrites. If anything funky is being picked up, it'll rewrite it. Actually, let's get to the browser and the edge cache last. We don't want any of the security features on. It's not going to turn them on or off. The defaults are already set in Cloudflare. So we want Mirage on. We spoke about that one just now. We want Rocket Loader and Polish. Oh, actually, we want it on Lossy. Sorry. We want Rocket Loader. We want opportunistic encryption. So if it finds something it can encrypt that isn't encrypted, it'll do that. Is there anything else? None of these are important. No, I think we've got it all. Okay, so now the content folder, we're gonna make a lot of design changes, and the images and stuff pretty much stay the same, right? It'll get a new name if there's a new image. So we're gonna set the edge cache to a month on this one, and we're gonna set the browser cache. Where is that one? Browser cache. Also quite long. Maybe not a month. Maybe we'll make it I'm gonna lie. I'm gonna make that less. I'm gonna make it 8 days. And we can clear the edge cache, right, with a purge. We can't clear this, so I'm keeping it a little lighter. It can stay in there longer. We can manually clear that if we want. Let's just double check that we got everything. And the most important one we did forget, cache level. Cache everything, and our HTML and everything else will be cached as well. And I think, pretty sure we're good. Yeah, we've got everything we want in here. No empty stuff, and we're going to deploy this in the first position. Ooh, I forgot. Okay, so 2 things you want to bypass in the cache: in the sitemap and any RSS feeds. You want those fresh. There's no real advantage to caching them. They're small and quick. So we're gonna go ahead and add our sitemap to the first position, and we're gonna say we want to bypass cache level. So where's that? What are we looking for? Origin? No. Am I scrolling past it? Cache level. Bypass. First position. Save and deploy. Okay, so whatever rules we create, this specific thing will be overwritten. And then we're just gonna bypass all the RSS feeds. XML, and it's also, what was it, cache level, bypass. We can say custom order, we just want it after that guy. So now we've got this, then that one kicks in. And now we're gonna create a catch-all one. So we want everything on Milkmoon Studio. We're gonna create another blog one that sits just above this. But for now, let's just do this guy. And we're gonna rush through this quickly and just apply everything. Okay, so that's it. This is sort of our catch-all one, right? So he's got everything enabled, but not as much as the sort of static assets, and not as little as the blog will be posted much more often. I mean, I'm just sort of pulling numbers out of thin air here, and I think we have everything. We have everything enabled. I don't think there's anything left that we need in terms of performance. No. So we're gonna dump him in the last place. And now we are going to create one for our blog. So that is HTTP. And we're not creating this for posts, right? Because they don't really change that often. We post the post and it stays the way it is. So we're just doing it for the blog feed because we don't want that static. When a new post gets added on that page, we want to see the new post that's sitting at the top of the page. They're organized by that. So again, we're just gonna, let's just apply everything. And you'll see we're just gonna do this for a day in each case. So we want this one to be shorter. And because the cache for the content one, those rules are sitting higher than this one, we're gonna put this right in the middle. Because that's sitting higher, it will override it. Sorry, I'm thinking too hard and doing stuff at the same time. Okay, I think we've got everything that we want. Yeah. And we're gonna say we want a custom save and deploy. And we just want it above this guy. Oof. Below this guy, not above. So now you'll see we have that. We have the blog sitting in between. These rules override for the images and stuff. And this guy at the very bottom. And that's it. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments. The old video with the workaround for when things did go wrong will still be up. I'll link to it in the comments. But yeah, let us know if you have any issues. Cheers.